Hi and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about some huge Cardano price predictions, and we're going to be taking a look at them through the lens of whether they are realistic or just pure hopium. As I get into today's video, smash that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, and if you haven't done so yet, why don't you go ahead and check out the free Discord. The link is in the description down below. Guys, let's waste no more time. Let's jump right into today's video. Okay guys, before we can really talk about and discuss Cardano ADA's price prediction, I want to first of all address both Bitcoin and Ethereum. As these two are leading the crypto market, I think it's very important that we think about their price predictions, what their market caps will be, and put that into relation to the Cardano price prediction and Cardano's market cap. This is an important step because a lot of feedback from a lot of different people across the space about whether or not Cardano can hit such high valuations and whether or not the market cap is an unrealistic expectation. And I want to kind of stress in today's video that market cap is only a simple calculation. It does not show you value. It doesn't show you liquidity. It just shows you the idea of value. And what I mean by this is market cap is a simple calculation. You take the price and you multiply it by the circulating supply, which means that the price dictates the market cap. The market cap does not dictate the price. It's very important that we understand what moves price and what moves market cap. The price moves based on supply and demand elements, and it's an oversimplification, but it helps you understand a little bit around price. And of course, the market cap is price times circulating supply. So I hear a lot in the space about Bitcoin's prices and the price predictions that a lot of people have, or price expectations that a lot of people have for BTC. A lot of people talk about six figures, 100K, 200K, 300, 400, 500, maybe even $1 million per Bitcoin, right? And we want to understand whether or not that's realistic. And in order to do so, we can kind of take the price, multiply it by the supply, and give you a bit of a market cap to give you an idea as to whether you think that seems realistic or not. Now, what's going to propel Bitcoin to those kind of levels is a shrinkage of supply. We have Bitcoin halving event. We have everything going on with the ETFs and long-term holders. Institutional investors don't do short-term, they do long-term, all that kind of stuff. And of course, we do have the idea of an increased demand. We again see that from the ETFs. We see that from wider adoption of BTC just generally. And of course, we can see shrinkage of the supply of Bitcoin over time as well from people who lose their keys and lose access to their wallets and essentially lose their Bitcoin. So it's important that we kind of reflect on these things. Now, I am pre-recording today's video by a couple of days, so we'll have different numbers than what I'm going to be talking about here today. But for the most part, the future price predictions and the valuations of market cap, they'll all remain the same regardless of today's price. And at the point of recording today's video, Bitcoin is hovering around $61,500. The current market cap is about $1.197 trillion as well. So we know that Bitcoin's got a pretty decent valuation at the moment. And this over $1 trillion in kind of Bitcoin market cap is something that we saw a lot of people in complete disbelief around, because a few years ago in the very early days of Bitcoin, a lot of people didn't believe that you would see $300 billion market cap or $500 billion market cap for Bitcoin. You know, it was just magical internet money back then. And for the most part, it shocked the world, right? And we've seen a significant growth in that market cap and in the valuation of Bitcoin's price as we've seen supply shrinking and demand growing. So it's very important that we kind of reflect on what some of those ideas are around the future price predictions for BTC. Now, Bitcoin, if it were to hit a $200,000 price, would be a $3.9 trillion market cap, a kind of 3.3x from its current position approximately, right? And that in itself doesn't actually sound terribly too unrealistic, considering we're hovering around that kind of $1.2 trillion level. You know, actually just short of $4 trillion, actually, yeah, it's not that unrealistic if we were to think about it that way. What if we were to see a $300,000? Well, at $300,000 Bitcoin, we're talking about a $5.9 trillion market cap, right? Pretty large market cap. And this is where we then start to lose a few people along the line. They think that's just unrealistic. We're not going to see those kind of numbers. That kind of market cap valuation is ludicrous for Bitcoin, right? And it's hard to kind of disagree with some people, but again, ultimately it isn't really a representation of value or liquidity. It's just a representation that a lot of the supply is shrinking or being locked up and being kind of pushed to one side, that there isn't a sufficient amount of Bitcoin on the exchanges for purchase, and that's what's going to drive the price. So these ETFs are doing a phenomenal job at basically allowing for shrinkage of the supply whilst simultaneously increasing the demand. So what about $500,000? Well, at $500,000, Bitcoin's market cap would be $9.8 trillion. Now, that's an 8.2x from its current position approximately, which would be a pretty phenomenal level, right? Kind of, bordering on and kind of trying to go after the market cap of gold, for example. Is it unrealistic? I still think that it's going to take a very long time to get there, but not unrealistic, and is something that I can see in the future for BTC. It's just going to take quite some time to get there, in my opinion. But a $9.8 trillion market cap will shock a lot of people, and it will basically put Bitcoin in the mainstream. Now, let's talk about Ethereum. Ethereum obviously has its ETFs coming soon, and those are just around the corner. At the point of recording today's video, we're hovering around $3,400, a $405 billion market cap approximately. And it's quite an interesting one because this is pre-ETF, so it is going to balloon up quite massively once we see a stock market get their hands on Ethereum without actually having to touch it directly. It's going to be quite an interesting play. Now, at a kind of $405 billion market cap, we could see Ethereum surging. Now, a lot of people kind of say maybe $15,000 is a realistic price expectation for Ethereum during this ETF surge. That would be a 4.4x from its current position and a $1.8 trillion market cap. Bearing in mind, that would put Ethereum higher than the market cap that Bitcoin is today. Question is that realistic? In my mind, $1.8 trillion market cap on Ethereum actually isn't all that difficult, considering we're going to see a significant surge in the demand and shrinkage of the supply of Ethereum. So I do think it's going to be a bit of a target, but it's something that we can kind of think and go after. Some people say it's too low. Maybe it's going to be $25,000. Well, that's going to put you at about $3 trillion market cap for Ethereum, a 7.4x from its current position. And some say it's going to go towards $30,000, and that's a $3.6 trillion market cap. So the question for you guys in the comments below is, what are your price predictions for Bitcoin and for Ethereum? Because knowing this helps you understand whether or not ADA is an unrealistic price expectation and price prediction, or actually right in line with your kind of assumptions around where Bitcoin and Ethereum are heading. Now, we've seen recently Solana have applications for the Solana spot ETFs, and we're going to more than likely see XRP. And I do think Cardano will have an ETF in the future as well. This is going to help propel the price of ADA as we see an increase in demand and decrease of supply. So let's talk about the market cap of Cardano. Today, we're hovering about $13.8 billion for the market cap of ADA today, right? The supply is 35.7 billion, right? So it's got a pretty hefty supply, hovering around 38.7 cents at the point of recording today's video. Now, obviously, when we talk about price predictions, there's a lot to kind of take into consideration. We're going to now just jump down into the charts here and review where we think things are going. Now, anyone who's been keeping up to date with the Cardano videos that we've been doing, you'll know that obviously I have some interesting kind of targets when it comes to Cardano. Now, on the lower side of the spectrum, and the more realistic side, in my opinion, we are going to be somewhere between $5.34 and what I believe will be $12.73, right? This is going to be kind of a new all-time high, but maybe not the best kind of run for Cardano. Again, this is something to keep a close eye on. But what does this mean in terms of market cap and relationships towards the Bitcoin price predictions and the Ethereum price predictions? Well, for that, we are going to, of course, jump back to our spreadsheet, and we're going to review where we think things could be going for Cardano in that regard, right? So if we take that lower price prediction of $5.34 and we put it into our spreadsheet, that gives us a market cap of $190 billion, a 13.8x from its current position. Again, this actually seems incredibly realistic. If we see Bitcoin do incredibly well, let's just hypothetically say Bitcoin only goes to $100,000, right? Let's be super conservative. And let's say Ethereum, it goes to $10,000. Well, that's going to put Bitcoin's market cap at 1.9 trillion, Ethereum at 1.2 trillion. would a $190 billion market cap for ADA be unrealistic in relation to those really kind of smaller targets in mind for Bitcoin and Ethereum? You can let me know in the comments down below. But what about those larger expectations? $12.73. Well, $12.73 would put the market cap at $455 billion, a 32.9x from the current position. Again, I want to liken this to 100k Bitcoin, 10k Ethereum. Would a 1273 ADA be unrealistic? Well, in relation to the kind of price expectations of Bitcoin or expectations of Ethereum, no, I would still say a $455 billion valuation or market cap for Cardano would actually be right in line with the kind of the rest of the market. The whole entire market's going to balloon up as Ethereum has its spot ETF, as Solana gets its one across the line as well. We are more than likely going to see exponential growth within this kind of crypto landscape, this crypto market overall. And for Cardano here, I think that's quite likely to kind of see exponential growth like that. Now, of course, if we were to see higher ranged targets, well, what do they mean? Well, if we see Bitcoin reach 200, 300k, and maybe Ethereum reaches 15, 20,000, well, there is the idea of $38 Cardano, right? That's a $38.44. It's not easy. It's about 17,000% from its local bottom at 22 cents. So what would that do to a kind of market cap and all of that kind of stuff? Well, if we take a look at our spreadsheet and we were to put into our spreadsheet that $38.44, that's going to give us a bit of an idea, right? So $38.44 is a $1.3 trillion market. Let's assume that, we have a $15,000 Ethereum and maybe a $200,000 prediction for Bitcoin. We have a $3.9 trillion market for BTC, $1.8 trillion for Ethereum, and $1.3 trillion on ADA. This to me seems unrealistic in relation to those lower ranged price targets for Bitcoin and for Ethereum. But under the scenario where Bitcoin goes to 500,000, let's say Ethereum goes to 25,000, well, actually then things here actually seem a little bit more realistic. $9.8 trillion for Bitcoin, $3 trillion for Ethereum, 1.3 trillion for Cardano, a 99.2x. It's possible, of course, but it is a stretch target. I think it's more realistic to be thinking about those smaller targets between $5 and $12, which seem hyper realistic in relation to where Bitcoin and Ethereum could be going in the longer term. But again, I'm just a guy on YouTube sharing his thoughts and opinions as to kind of where Cardano could be going based on the data that's available to me in the charts. What are your Cardano price predictions? Let me know in the comments down below. If you found today's video useful, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe. And if you haven't done so yet, give this video a click and stay up to date with everything else that's going on in the crypto space.